welcome you all to the EVP session on leveraging employee volunteering for social good. Thanks to and part of the rise of millennials in the workspace, employee volunteering is growing a hot topic for employers nowadays. While the monetary donations usually steal the spotlight, many innovative companies are promoting volunteering programs from understudy to lead their responsible agendas today. Studies have shown that volunteering has positive impact not only on increasing companies' engagement with community and customers, but also enhances employee retention and engagement. With companies waking up to employee volunteering, and there are many success stories to adopt from and to learn from, in this session, we shall drive further upon the issue, learn from the trends that are there, especially in the virtual volunteering, and the challenges that companies actually face in implementing of these projects and programs. How investors and partners can craft this better in a more responsible, in a more impact-oriented employee engagement strategies. However, we proceed, and I would like to go ahead talking about that there is another parallel session that is about to start in the track A, which is titled about India Skill Series Forum, enabling nation building, employability, empowerment, and ensuring delivery. To take this session forward and to a much more conclusive end, we have to with us some EVP experts in this plenary session to learn from. So what I will do now is I'll invite our moderator of this session, Mr. Deepak Prabhu, Head of Outreach and Volunteering Cognizant. Mr. Deepak is the Global Head of Cognizant Employee Volunteering Program Outreach and leads the core committee of Cognizant Foundation in Karnataka. The outreach program provides an integrated platform to enable employees of Cognizant to dedicate their time, skills, and passion for making a difference in the focus areas of supporting inclusion in tech and increasing community impact. These focus areas are aligned to Cognizant's social purpose of improving everyday life. Since its inception 13 years ago, more than 2 lakh outreach volunteers across 30 countries have clocked over 3.4 million hours of volunteering to impact 7 lakh lives. That's the kind of impact that we're talking about. Ms. Padmini Kupparagu currently heads the communication and CSR of NVIDIA in India. Prior to this, she has spent past decade in corporate, the media, and in the social sector as a thought leader and a change maker. She has an extensive experience as a journalist, writing and reporting for local issues and national news media, as well as for welfare agencies on critical development issues such as women, child rights, public education, urban poverty, and many more. She has worked also on a dialogue with state governments to provide transformation education in preliminary primary schools across the country. Her experience includes working with organizations such as the Shaw India, Times of India, UNICEF, Teach Shaw India, among many others. Ms. Aman Panu, Head of Corporate Communications and CSR at DCM Shriram Limited. Ms. Aman is a Head of Communications and CSR at DSM Shriram, as I said, with 21 years of work experience, working across various sectors such as retail, agriculture, chemicals, and liquor. She started her career in public relations with TBWA Anthem in 1999, handling clients across the sector, followed with a move to marketing communications. She has worked at Ebony Retail Holding Limited and Radalco Khaitan Limited, looking after their marketing communications. She has also been with DCM Shriram Limited for the past 11 years in the role of Head Corporate Communication and also handles the CSR function. The company set up an archive in which Aman played a pivotal role in building the communication archives and heritage gallery in Kota in Rajasthan to preserve the 136 years of history of the DCM group. She is a mass communication postgraduate from Symbiosis Institute of Mass Communication, Pune, and has undertaken a leadership program at IIM Bangalore. She is a strong driver in the concept of storytelling. She uses it across her various roles in communication and CSR activities. Our next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Ranjan, Director and Global Head of Sustainability at Brilio. Abhishek heads the CSR Sustainability Initiative and DI and Employee Outreach at Brilio. He also serves as the Managing Trustee at Brilio Foundation. He was named as one of 100 most impactful CSR leaders under the global listing at the World CSR Congress in 2016. Abhishek brings with him 14 plus years of experience in marketing, HR, CSR, and has been instrumental in leading the Bring Smiles initiative of Brilio CSR program and driving an impact the society. Under his guidance, the Brilio CSR programs have been able to ignite 40,000 young minds globally. The Employee Outreach Program under Abhishek's leadership has been awarded as India's best volunteering program in the year 2018. He also leads the Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP project at Brilio, which has seen carbon footprint reduction by 25% since inception. He started his career with IBM as a business analyst and later worked for Oracle, where he credited with some of the settings up its customer centers and industrial relation functions in India. Today, he is an active advocate of sustainability and responsible business. He usually lectures in B schools globally and is an adjunct faculty at Christ University, Bangalore. He is an alumni of IIMT Ghaziabad and has studied CSR and sustainability among several leading institutions such as IIM Bangalore, ISB, GRI. Our next speaker, Dr. Prahlatan, co-founder Bhumi. Dr. Prahlatan founded the organization Bhumi, which is one of India's largest volunteering organizations. Bhumi mobilizes citizens to work towards sustainable development goals. Its volunteers educate over 25,000 underprivileged children and work for the causes like environment, disability, animal welfare, and so forth. He strongly believes that every child deserves quality education and is passionate about making volunteering a habit among young people. By education, he is a doctor specialized in anthropology. And at Bhumi, he leads the corporate and youth volunteering programs that he provides end-to-end support for in over 100 corporates and colleges across the country. Now, I would like a moderator, Mr. Deepak, to take this conversation ahead towards a much more conclusive end.
Thank you, Manoviraj, for the introductions. Welcome, Aman, Abhishek, Padmini, and Dr. Prahladan to this panel discussion. First of all, thanks to CSR Box for organizing this wonderful event, and thanks to all the team members who have worked over the course of the last few weeks to put up this panel discussion. And thank you for having us all here. So according to the 2020 edition of the Chief Executives for Corporate Purpose Global Report, otherwise called the CECP report, the average percentage of employees volunteering at least 1 hour in 2019 for all companies was roughly about 29%. Corporate volunteerism also experienced some dramatic shape-shifting as a result of the pandemic over the course of the last 8 months. Many large corporations pivoted from their existing programs to expand what they counted as corporate volunteerism total hours. Some of the good deeds to help neighbors in need, online tutoring for students, storytelling sessions, making masks, and so on for healthcare workers and other community members. All of these were counted as volunteering hours and helped employees to remain engaged, not only for the company's sense of purpose, but also for their own sense of purpose, even if they were not in the office. I'm sure there is more awareness of increased organizational effectiveness due to the engagement provided or generated by the employee volunteering program. So it is in this context that I'm pleased to begin this panel discussion. Let me begin by asking this common question to all the panel members, starting with Aman and followed by Abhishek and Padmini and Dr. Prahladan. I would like you to please share an elevator pitch about your company's employee volunteering program, and also touch upon very quickly, how did your organization adapt the program post-March 2020? Over to Aman.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Deepak. So at DCM Shriram Limited, we've had various employee volunteering initiatives where our employees have been volunteering in areas of providing digital literacy to help children in rural areas, conducting behavior change classes and WASH programs at schools, etc. This is in the pre-COVID era. But the COVID pandemic saw employees going beyond the call of duty at a much broader level to help communities. And we saw this as an opportunity to give our employees a platform to help communities through launch of a virtual employee volunteering program, which we called We Volunteer. So first, we basically undertook a survey to understand the causes our employees wanted to associate with to help the communities during the onset of the pandemic. And then we integrated them with causes we as an organization were supporting because we wanted to further the impact of our own interventions. And post which we collaborated with credible partners and virtually gave an online platform to the employees. To give you an example, Deepak, we had our employees and their families make face masks. You did speak about that. And I'm happy to share that we had around 27,000 face masks, which were donated to CHCs, PHCs, and frontline workers in our communities. And some of the other causes were donating dry ration kits, mentoring of youth on career development, donating sanitary napkins, etc. Right? Also, I think in the current scenario, what has happened is that organizations had to recalibrate their CSR programs. So similarly, for the employee volunteering programs also, we've been doing regular need assessments of our communities and how employees could help further. So recently, we've launched a drive to collect mobiles and tabs to help children get access to education, which is part of our Khushali Shiksha, which is our education program being implemented in 62 villages of Hardoi and Lakhimpur Kheri in UP. Because we truly believe that this association with relevant causes in the current scenario will give a more sense of meaningful association to the employees also. Thank you.
Thank you, Aman. Abhishek?
Thank you, Deepak, and good afternoon to everybody. First of all, my sincere gratitude to CSR Box for organizing such a beautiful event. Even the times like this when we are not meeting in person, I think coming every October, November, we were mostly waiting for this event and to be in person in Gurgaon or Delhi. Brilio Technologies, which is just a 6-year-old company, the last 5 years since we started our sustainability and CSR function, we have taken a singular goal of helping children learn better. And knowing that the STEM is the future, we have aligned most of our learning programs to the STEM programs. Last year, we became a part of a Bain Capital company when Bain acquired us our majority stake, and we have not seen much of change in the times like this COVID. I think the kind of CSR spend we have done, the kind of volunteering during the COVID-19, I think it is much beyond what we normally do in the normal times. I think when there was a calling for our duties, I think every one of us, the company, the employee, have really come forward. Of course, there was an initial hiccup challenges when we were kind of struggling between employee care and society care, right? That was the initial struggle started. But I think very soon we realized that, this time we need to kind of really risen up. The biggest challenge we had initially that, we work with primarily government school. We work with more than 350 government schools across India. And how do we reach out to them, right? There's no communication platform exists, right? And there's no way you can go and, get things done, right? And we just don't believe in just giving cash donations, we want to be very integrated. So our CSR programs are, all of them are very integrated with the volunteering programs. We do not do CSR or any grant if there's no volunteering, sustainable volunteering involved in it. The good thing happened is that we could quickly, establish those WhatsApp groups, several dozens of WhatsApp groups because of the connect we have with the schools and principals directly. And within a month, we could start doing, programs. Almost every day since then, we have volunteering happening during the work days. Obviously, there was a need of the hour where we have donated, masks, providing rations. We have gone to these government schools where we got an SOS that hey, they don't have food, and we have worked with some nonprofit partners. We made some tweaking during the pandemic. We are going beyond, the education focus what we have. But what we have seen is that, today we could have united. There was a lot of positives happen during this pandemic. And now we do not have to really rely upon that Bangalore volunteers cannot volunteer in Pune. Pune volunteers are doing probably volunteering in Bengal. So those are the pluses happen, right? So there are a lot of learnings happen. And what we see moving forward from here, that, we will have a program in the future which have the both online and offline content. So that's where this whole experience has been very, very useful. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you. Padmini, over to you.
Oh, thanks, Deepak. I'm so glad to be here. And I agree. I think this is one of the events that all of us look forward to in the course of the year. So very happy to come back and be a part of it. I represent NVIDIA, and NVIDIA, as you know, I think our technology is really transforming the world as we know it. And I think we don't see a big difference between our CSR work and the work that we do as a company anyway. But I think because India is one of those countries where it's mandated by law, and we believe that there is a certain impetus that we have to put to bring leadership on board to make CSR decisions. So I want to talk a little bit about very quickly, how we're organized. We don't have a volunteering program in general. We have an employee engagement program. We have an institutional partnerships work stream that is largely, the 2% funds that we give out and work with nonprofits on. And then, of course, we have what is known as our flagship program, which is called Inspire 365. Our Inspire program largely allows employees to sort of give back to the causes and communities that we live and do business in. Where our institutional partnerships are very impact focused, very deep interventions, we look at medium to long-term engagements, and we work on dedicated causes like climate change and sustainability. Our Inspire 365 program is open to every cause that our employees believe in and want to support. And we want to make it as easy for them as possible. So we have our NVIDIA Foundation that actively supports our employees throughout the world. So we used to have something called the Inspire project, which was like this large project that the whole world would come together and figure out what we wanted to do in the course of the year and galvanize our employees to do that. But I think very fortunately, we moved away from that model, and we said, we want to give back every day, and we want to make a difference every day. So that's how we launched Inspire 365, which is, our employee-driven committees that exist in each of our offices. So they have a mandate and they have a budget that they use, and then they come up with an idea of what they want to do through the course of the year. These can be internal events, these can be external events, these can be based on whatever goals we set. So it could be a fundraising goal, or it could be an educational goal, or it could be a skill-based volunteering, or it could be anything else that we choose. And I think the aim of all of this is that ultimately, we want to get to a point where our employee engagement is synonymous with, our business objectives. So basically, we want to bring NVIDIAN minds, NVIDIAN talent, NVIDIAN thinking to, how we solve our social impact challenges as well. So that's our ultimate goal. I think because we were lucky in, the tech that we employed during the course of the pandemic, we were able to very quickly mobilize that. So our priority for the year was largely that we wanted to give back to the communities very quickly, and we wanted to galvanize employees to, make the changes that they want to make in the communities that they were in. So, in the course of this year, I think we've donated over $10 million. And that happened largely because our employees wanted to give back, and we made it very, very easy for them through our employee match program. And of course, we had an advantage, a huge advantage in our leadership, where Jensen, our CEO, pledged to match every dollar that the employee was giving, and every dollar that the company was giving. So our match program went up by 4x. And so, we've given away a lot of money this year, and we thought that that was one of the best things that we could do in the absence of committing our time or going out there and being on ground. So that was a very large overview of what we do. I can speak more about, the challenges that we face and all of that in the upcoming questions.
Thank you, Padmini. Over to you, Dr. Prahladan.
Thank you, Deepak, and thank you, CSR Box, for organizing this. I'm one of the founders of Bhumi. It's a non-profit organization. So it's one of India's largest volunteer organizations. We have two programs. One is our education program, where we work with over 25,000 children in orphanages, slum communities, and schools, providing supplementary education. Our second program is to activate citizens, make volunteering a national habit. Here we work with two groups. One is colleges, where we set up Bhumi clubs, where students there self-organize events. We promote entrepreneurship and leadership development through that. We work with 100+ companies where we provide end-to-end support for their employee volunteer programs, right from designing to event facilitation to volunteer recognition. So during COVID, we ran a helpline to help the daily wages affected by the lockdown, and corporate employees helped referring beneficiaries, taking calls on the helpline so that financial aid could be channeled. We've largely had to shift to virtual volunteering. Two examples I can share. One is virtual Seva Chef, where employee volunteers cook food at their home and our on-ground partners pick it up at their home and distribute it to who need it. We've also, we work with a lot of children in orphanages. They've been locked up in their homes. So we're doing virtual tours, right, from Taj Mahal to Seven Wonders of the World to the White House even. Some things that normally also we wouldn't have thought about it. So virtual volunteering has opened up a lot of possibilities, but it has been a mixed bag.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the pitch. I'm very inspired by the focus in each of your organizations to volunteering. And more specifically, how in some cases there was a quick reinventing of the programs to suit the current world that we are living in. So moving on, I want to also now switch gears to really focus the discussion on things around impact and measurement and so on. My question to maybe I'll invite Abhishek and also Padmini to share their views as to how does Brillio and NVIDIA design the engagement activities to ensure that employees are able to attach a sense of purpose to the impact that they want to make in the community.
Yeah, so thanks, Deepak. So I think the good thing happened that we are a young company, and we started from creating this from scratch in 2015. And one of the things which we looked at, then how do we make employees as a stakeholder, a co-creator in this whole program, right? So we didn't believe in bottoms up or top-down approach. I think everybody should be stakeholder. So in terms of naming the program, what could be the focus? Everything has come from the employee voice. And that's how we created the program. Even the name of the Bringing Smiles, what we call our CSR program, was crowdsourced among the employees. What we have realized obviously we had a vision to kind of create a culture. It's not about just doing something, But what we have learned in the 5 years, I think I would like to share. I think this is a continuous learning process still. The one thing which has worked for us is that, we always believe that the leadership has to be authentic. So when your leaders talk in town halls, that doesn't actually cut an ice to the employees. But if they come on ground and volunteer with on a regular basis, that's what makes the employee believe in it. So that has really worked for us. The second piece, what we have looked at is that, that employees in every organization, all of organizations, they're very passionate. They want to probably change the world when you talk to them the first time. How do we convert those passion into a purpose? So give them a purpose. And then finally, how it can be we call it 3 P's: passion, converting to purpose, and then finally to a professional development of that individual employee. When the employee believes that this is a win-win situation, his or her kind of multiplies a lot. The third thing, what we have seen over the last since the millennials have come on the volunteering front, skill-based volunteering has really gone up, and that's what we have seen, that how our employees can they brush their skills as well as they can donate their skills for society. So that has really worked. Now, communications plays a huge role. One of the campaigns where I want to share here, most of the time we talk about the society, right? Hey, somebody needs that, somebody needs this, somebody is looking for your help, right? But then we turn the entire communication to say that, hey, each one of you are precious. So we run a campaign called Precious You, where we have put employees at the center of communication and said, you are so precious, God has been so kind to you. And then what can you do? Even a 1 minute of your time, 1 rupee or $1 of your time. So I think sometimes this communications, where the employee become at the center has really worked for us. And the last thing which I want to talk here is that how do we integrate with your CSR strategy, right? So today, all our CSR and sustainability strategy, whether it's a grant CSR or 2% CSR, everything is integrated to each other. So we do not have a standalone volunteering. We do not have a standalone projects, right? And we offer something called Brilio action cards. This is when the employee joins the company, there are 6 options placed on for their during the induction, and they decide what they want to do, right? Somebody wants to create their own program, so build your own program. Somebody want to be a social advocate. They want to talk about, they want to do a video, they want to do a campaign. Okay, fine, you take up that. Somebody want to just go along with the Brilio's project of volunteering and continue what we are doing. Someone want to raise funds or create some fundraiser for this. So there's a variety of options we provide them in the beginning. This help us to also give us a sense that what our employees want. Since we're in a growing company, it has been the CSR has grown with the business, and so is the volunteering. So that's how some of these things we have applied over the last 5 years, and probably some of them has worked well. Yeah, over to you, Deepak.
Thank you. Padmini, if you want to add on.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, I always find that it's the first thing we have to do is differentiate between outcomes and impact. I think that's the starting point for you to understand what you're trying to achieve when you're starting any EVP, or in fact, for that matter, anything in CSR, right? Like, it's very easy for us to go paint a wall and paint a school and think, that's a very successful employee volunteering initiative because 300 people joined and they gave excellent feedback. But I think what has that really done to the school itself? Has it really improved learning outcomes? Has it? It's not because the school was not pretty that the kids were not either coming to school or that they're going to develop faster. So I think it's important for us to first ask the question of why. Why are we trying to do this? And as a result, what happens? And clearly distinguish that. And it's okay. It's okay to paint schools and have fun. Like, of course it is. But I do believe that we very clearly define what is the end objective of what we are trying to do, and then work backwards from there. Impact is longer term, it's harder work, it's deeper, it's more challenging. And I think if you're really going to get into that, you should know that it's going to take a lot of sustained, engaged effort. So that's what I always start with. The second thing that we do a lot is what I call the knowing, caring, doing continuum. So I feel that if you don't know, you can't care about it, and if you don't care about it, you don't do it. And it's okay, I think, for all of us to first admit that we don't know what a problem is. And when you go into something, and I do a lot of education with and a lot of hard conversations with our Inspire champions, where we're always talking about, guys, why are we doing this? No self-serving agendas. Let's be more collaborative. When we're talking to our nonprofit partners, always understand that we need to ask them the right questions about how we can support, instead of going with our agenda of how we want to support. So understand the problems first. Understand what is the cause, and then what is the effect, and then you bring in brilliant engineering minds, and then they'll do their own thing. So I think it's a lot of educating first, and then moving them to the point of caring, and then the doing happens. And then all this while, being very humble about it, being coming with a learning mindset, understanding, what are we really contributing here? And I think once that happens, we can then move to the 2.0 of our engagement activities, where we are really saying that now we are going to integrate our business and our, nonprofit worlds, bring in do that cross-pollination of ideas, talent, time, tech, everything that we want to do, and then sort of build that ecosystem. Unless I think that education happens internally, that those conversations happen internally, every program starts with the question of why, what are we trying to do? How do we know it will work? And following up and saying, this is what we've done, and these are our learnings, and do a huddle and move on from there. So whether it's money that we are giving, whether it's time that we are giving, whatever it is, I always, follow this continuum and then see what happens.
Thank you, Padmini. I'm actually going to take off from the point about you talked about the differentiating between outcome and impact. And my follow-on question is kind of around that. At Cognizant, where I lead the employee volunteering program, we came up with a scorecard about 5 years back, we called it the Impact Index to measure employee volunteering. It was basically looking at what is the type of the volunteering activity that is being performed. Is it done on a continual basis, or is it just one time? And as an outcome, what is it that it is leading to, or what is the impact that is creating, and what is the outcome that it is leading to? So not something that was an industry standard or a benchmark, but we felt we kind of can come up with our own sort of a scorecard. So somewhere there is that feeling that corporates or organizations like Boomi, for example, which promotes volunteering on a large scale, and Dr. Prahladan talked about how they are trying to work at making volunteering a national habit. So what are the ways, and I want to ask this question to Dr. Prahladan, what are the ways in which corporates can be encouraged, or organizations which promote volunteering can be encouraged to measure the impact of such programs? And also how based on that measurement, some of those elements can be identified that are not working well, so that we can improve on them.
Sure, thanks, Deepak. So firstly, I believe that here a great volunteer management partner, non-profit partner can play a supporting role for a corporate. I think starting with co-creating a workshop where the senior leadership or the board set the vision and the goals for a volunteer program, periodic review meetings where the NGO and the corporate go over the event details, participation rate, what feedback the employees are giving, how they are feeling about this whole thing. To sharing the outcomes and outputs of the volunteering with each volunteer. Like, for example, if we do a cleanup drive, so many tons of waste was collected, out of which this percentage is recyclable, and we've sent it to the recycling plant. We create awareness about right to education. So there's a helpline where parents can call and volunteers return the call. At each stage, which volunteer called the child is recorded in the system. So when the child applies or when the child gets admitted, we are able to go back to the volunteer and say that because of your volunteer, now this child is getting free education up to class 8. So the impact is communicated to the volunteer, right? And engage the employees in like creating core groups, like the CSR leads are there, the HRs are there, but then still they're dealing with so many non-profit organizations. Creating employee groups within organizations creates more owners within the company who sort of worry about this, who care about this and be part of this, right? So that works for us. I think the other side of the coin is also the corporate interacting with, talking to the non-profit and understanding, getting their feedback on how it's going, what they can do better. And also understanding what capacity gaps nonprofits have so that they can run better employee volunteer programs. I think that's what I have to share.
Thank you, Dr. Prahladan. In fact, you touched upon it a little bit, right? Also, I want to have a follow-on question and maybe invite Aman. In terms of what are the practices or measures that DCM Shriram has tried out for incentivizing employee engagement?
Thanks, Deepak. So, what we have done is we have set up a champions group, right? Because it becomes very, very important. How do you motivate employees? And especially if the organization has, from a location perspective, it's more spread out. So it becomes more important that you look at these champions, and the champions are the ones who are actually going to then motivate the employees to look at different causes. It's important to train the volunteers, which we've been doing on a regular basis, have regular communication with them, right? In terms of incentivizing them, naturally rewards and recognition becomes very, very important. And this kind of brings in like a healthy competition between the units also. So here I'm talking about the champions. The second layer is naturally that for the employee volunteers also, we do appreciation certificates. There are volunteer points which are given. And I totally believe that this recognition plays a very important role in keeping the volunteers motivated. So although a volunteer will not join because he wants to receive praise, but it definitely becomes a good driver for them to be motivated and to produce quality results. The other thing that we spoke about earlier also was feedback from beneficiaries. So we've had a regular feedback from beneficiaries also coming in. So to just give you an example, we have a self-help group where these young girls are doing Zardozi work, and our employees are actually helping in demand generation and sale of these products. So when the beneficiary, which is the SHG group, and these young girls talk about how their incomes have increased, and that feedback is given to the volunteers, there's a sense of pride that comes there. Another engagement tool is social media, and I think that today becomes very, very important to celebrate heroes. So within the organization, we take up stories of how these employees have done regular volunteering, helping various causes, and doing mailers, posts where they are tagged. So there's a sense of pride that they get within their social network, and also helps in motivating other employees. Because once I see that, my colleague has done this, I automatically also want to do something for social good, right? So like Padmini also spoke about the fact that and that once you know, that's only when you can actually take action on that particular subject, right? So motivating, to give you an example, we run a remote mentoring program also, and we do regular testimonials from the batch which is done remote mentoring, and that helps the next batch. Because once I read and say, okay, this is how the experience has been for me, it becomes easier for the next batch to come in and say, okay, I'm also interested to volunteer for this particular cause. So these are some of the things that we are doing at DCM Shriram.
Thank you. Padmini, would you like to add on in terms of the incentivizing employee engagement?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add a couple of things. One is, in addition to everything that Aman spoke, I think the only other thing that I would say is just make it easy. Make it easy to give back, make it easy to volunteer, make it easy to learn. And there's so many ways to do this, right? Like, I think a lot of concentration on volunteering is always external, but there's a lot of things that you can do internally as well. And I think just having having a really nice platform where people can crowdsource, raise, do micro fundraisers, can involve their networks to give, to support, to engage. Volunteer activities are easily shared, and there's a lot. And I think Aman mentioned social media, but we do that a lot internally also with our internet platforms. If there is a success story somewhere, someone has done something innovative, incredible, that story spreads like fire, and it becomes a movement. And then someone else, whoever started it in Europe, what was the equivalent version of that in, I don't know, somewhere else in America takes off, and then it becomes a whole new thing. For us, what has really worked is start early, catch them early. From new hires, we have like an orientation program. We give them gift cards that they can give away. Our sport awards, some of them, for exceptional performance, are actually our Benevolity points. Like, so you can give to a cause of your choice. And once you get that feeling, and once you know where this money is going, where what is happening as a result, I think it becomes very automatic. Then you don't need to incentivize at all. People are doing it because they want to do it.
Thank you, Padmini. I think in the interest of time, I'll just have one more question. And I think this was something that both Aman and Abhishek covered, right? You know, on the one hand, typically there's this varied passion of employees to contribute to social causes. And it's a double-edged sword in India, particularly. There's a lot of causes, there's a lot of passion. However, from a corporate perspective, it may not sometimes make sense to encourage the varied passion. So there has to be some balance between encouragement of employees to contribute to varied passion to the CSR objectives of the organization. So, Dr. Prahladan, any views on this aspect in terms of how that balance can be maintained, how programs can be aligned with the CSR objectives of the organization?
Sure. I think something like this is a win-win for all the stakeholders. For the employees like Gen Z and millennials, they're looking to volunteer more. Even I saw in the questions that people are asking how employee volunteering is covered under CSR. So the laws are not very clear. So here the company has a chance to engage their employees in a related project, right? And employees also feel more attached to the project to see that the company is funding this. I am volunteering for the same thing. The impact is, multiplied, and they see greater synergy. And also, some companies have a strong family volunteer program, right? So volunteering happens during the weekend. So why don't you bring your family? So companies worry about communication, right? And rightly so, about branding and things like that. Here it becomes much more easier, right? Instead of saying that we are funding this nonprofit for, let's say, girl-child education, here you're saying that we're funding this organization. Also, we want you to come and volunteer. So the employee sees it. We work with a lot of volunteers whose companies have huge CSR programs and they have no idea about it. But when volunteering happens together, the message cannot be missed. And with a lot of emphasis on impact, it's not just the CSR team, but the employees also are involved in it. So they can see how things get aligned. And also from the nonprofit side, I think any support is welcome, and greater support, more employees getting involved will always be welcomed. And like, for example, we're doing this shelters and school digitization because of COVID. And we were talking to this employee group and they suggested, why don't you use the discarded laptops? And that suggestion may not have come from the CSR team, but the employees were engaged. They have volunteered with us. So they came up with a suggestion. So I think it's a great thing if companies align their CSR with volunteering.
Aman, any thoughts in continuation of what Dr. Prahladan talked about?
Yeah, sure, Deepak. So from an employee volunteering perspective, I think it's definitely a very, very important component that can scale to a company's CSR goals. And rightly mentioned that, the impact is not only for the organization, but it also has a positive impact on the employees, non-profits that they work with, the community. So there's a win-win for everybody, right? So just to, give you an example that at Shriram, we've tried to align the EVP causes with our CSR pillar, right? And integrated the program. So then the goal setting for both the EVP and CSR pillar becomes more strategic in nature. Right? And where Dr. Prahladan was mentioning that because in certain organizations, maybe CSR, if it's not integrated with EVP, the impact might be lesser. So what we've tried to do is that through the year, we do a lot of education to the employees of our CSR programs also. So that naturally helps the volunteers get a view into what is happening in those programs. And when they themselves are invited to become a part of that program, they feel that they're a part of a larger good that's happening. Right? So one of the things that we've recently done is that there's a program that we run called Khushali Sehat. It's a healthcare program where we work with women in terms of women's reproductive health, right? And when the Poshan Ma was celebrated, at that point of time, one of the needs that came out was that, these pregnant and lactating women, adolescent girls, there was a lot of issue in terms of malnutrition that was there in the communities that we were working in. So we integrated that with our EVP program and launched a drive where we asked the employees to donate to the cause, donate Poshan kits. And this we did through Akshay Patra Foundation. And here, Nashri, when the donation of the portion kits, so that updates were shared with the employees also. So they feel that they're not just part of this one small thing that's happening, it's a larger program. And they become a part of the larger program also.
Thank you, Aman. So I think time for Q&A, but before that, quickly to summarize, I think across the board, I felt that there was a structure, there was a increased focus, there is an increased focus on, impact outcomes, asking why. There are suggestions that came from you in terms of how we need to be really working with the NGOs to be able to partner with them, not only for the CSR project, but to also build appropriate volunteering programs so that it kind of aligns with the CSR objectives of the organization. And I think Abhishek, I remember, made a point about how the leadership has to be authentic. It's not about talking in town halls and encouraging people to volunteer. It's actually volunteering along with the employees that actually, helps move from the passion to purpose to the professional development of the employees. Thank you very much for all your views. We will now move to the Q&A. I guess there are quite a few questions. Maybe I'll kick off by requesting Abhishek to chime in on a few of them. So Abhishek, maybe I think we have touched upon it. A question from Ramakrishnan. Does the scope to engage employees as volunteers in an outreach project play a role in choosing the project for CSR funding?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we do not do any project which does not have CSR volunteering. The idea is not whether volunteering is a part of 2% compliance or not. I think volunteering is completely a business case now. And I think all of us have seen that we have a separate budget allocation, the resource allocation for running employee volunteering program, right? Why we choose volunteering and CSR to be integrated? There are a lot of reasons for that. One is that definitely this kind of amplify your impact, because when the employee goes, there's a connect between, otherwise it's always seen as somebody donor and donee relationship, right? But actually when your employees goes on the ground or they're doing virtual volunteering, there's a lot of connect and you really become a partner in the development cycle. The second thing is that, when your volunteers goes on the ground and sees the project, they bring in their acumen, ideas, their knowledge and skill. That also, they come back and give you feedback that, hey, these are the things which we can do in this project. So there is a scope of improvement happen from both the side, the corporate and the non-profit, right? And I personally have seen that the employee volunteers give us the best impact assessment than any other third-party impact assessment reports what we get, because these are the guys who goes and sees on a regular basis, right? So it definitely plays a role if it's for the Brigio, because we believe that until unless there is a you need both your hand, your heart, and your head, right? So all three, if it's in the right place, you can do a better impact.
Thank you, Abhishek. Actually, a follow-on question for you, considering your knowledge about the CSR law and your involvement with the various stakeholders. This is from Shilpa Narayanan. Can CSR donors involve non-NGOs, especially startups or trusts, to take up employee engagement under CSR funds?
So technically, there are some admin expenses you can do from the CSR for volunteering, right? But the large volunteering funds sit outside the 2% CSR, right? And and that's how the law has been, currently been, right? There's a demand that volunteering should be a part of it. But as of now, there's a bit of, there is not a clear stand, but as of now, most of the companies are keeping volunteering out of it. Since volunteering is not a 2% CSR and we can work with private players who are basically registered as a profit companies, and that's pretty much possible. And we have been doing with some of them, including startups.
Thank you. There's a question from Tirumalai Narayanan. Does EVP enhance performance of the employee? Is there any data to support the same? In fact, I would like to sort of take this question. We are yet to sort of do a study, but clearly there are anecdotal evidences, right, in terms of how the collaboration capability of the team member enhanced, because in a regular course of his professional work, he has to interact with his close team, which is maybe 2 people, 5 people, 10 people. But then when he is elevated as a volunteer who has to sort of manage an event on multiple weekdays or weekend, he has to engage with the larger organization, right? So he has to work with people over whom he has no span of control, he has no interactions in the past. And therefore, it becomes important for him to try out varied forms of communication, interaction. The project management comes into play, and all of that. Of course, many corporates, including Cognizant, has done an analysis on the longevity of the employee. An engaged employee, due to an employee volunteering program or otherwise, is more likely to stay longer in the organization, thereby being able to contribute towards the success of the organization. And obviously, I think it helps in the career progression of the employee as well. I don't have any data otherwise in terms of the regular work. Aman, do you have any additional thoughts, experiences to share?
So I would just add, Deepak, that the point that you said, a lot of this is more anecdotal, right? We have a lot of testimonials where people have said this. And I think from an HR perspective also, there are pointers where they've done regular surveys to understand that people who are engaged, they do tend to stay with an organization longer. We have seen more and more that millennials are more drawn towards organizations which are doing social good. And that is also something that we see, that when we reach out to employees to be volunteering, most of the younger generation is the one which is coming up, right? And saying that we want to do this. So I think that this is something naturally from a data point, we can't give data, but there are many facts which can, page towards this, that this is true. Yeah.
So maybe another question, probably Padmini, if you can answer this. This is from Janvi. How do they track the impact of employee volunteering? Are monetary donations equal to in-person volunteering? I'm not sure if I understood the question, but I'm requesting you to come in, because you talked about certain monetary donations to encourage employees to then volunteer or give and so on. Any perspectives to add?
Yeah, I'm not sure I get the question fully, but I'll try and answer. I think at least from an NVIDIA point of view, and this has been the case with with my previous companies as well. There is a very clear distinguishment between I think employee gift programs, as in the matching gift programs, where an employee donates and then the company donates monetarily. So I think that is different. And then there's dollars per hours, which is largely, there is a value set for the number of hours that an employee is able to spend. And then that value is also donated to the cause that the employee would like, and then is matched by the company. So that's, there is a very clear difference. Other than that, there is ways of incentivizing also. Like, for example, when a new hire joins, we give a gift card that can be donated to, as I mentioned, charity of their choice. Other than that, for example, we right now have something called monthly missions. And I think maybe Deepak, you were referring to this at the very beginning of this. And I think someone else had asked about the difference between volunteering and engagement. And I think volunteering, at least from my perspective, is always when you go to communities where you're helping, or where you're, sort of aiding the growth of communities in need, whereas engagement doesn't have to be that. For instance, this year, a lot of our focus was supporting local restaurants, small businesses, frontline workers, leaving groceries for people in need, an elderly neighbor, whatever be the case, right? And for each of the missions that's completed, there's a token amount that we credit in the employees basket that again they can donate to a charity of their choice. So there is a bunch of things that you can do, and if you have a great tech platform, all of it is already measured and tracked. You don't really have to do anything particularly differently. You can also, for nonprofits that are not on these platforms, employees can give directly and request a match, attaching a receipt. So it's a fairly straightforward and simple thing to do.
Thanks, Padmini.
Deepak, if you can add 2-3 points, if
sure.
you have time. So I think the volunteering is definitely a business case. So we can measure impact both in terms of the community impact and what has impacted the company. Some examples: we track how many resumes, how many interviews people ask questions about CSR. And one of the newer markets in North America, we were opening up and we saw around 33% of people asking this question during the interviews. The second thing, we are measuring that what it helps in a brand, right? What kind of website traffic it creates? What are the people writing on Glassdoor, right? These are the real hard numbers. We also look at how many people actually turn from a journey of a tourist, traveler, and guide. We all know how we say it, right? And how many people basically had a program where we trained 1,000 teachers on digital literacy online during the pandemic, and completely run by the volunteers without any support from any nonprofit, right? So there are people who are creating programs. So if the volunteering is a business case, it helps both ways, because you get more support from business when you don't have additional funds because 2% doesn't comply to it. And when you see these results happening, you have real numbers. I mean, of course, you can do surveys, you can do metrics. And we also run a program called Hike and Smile, where we select 10 top volunteers every year. And the last year, this Hike and Smile program, they went from different cities of our operations to Ladakh for a hiking trip. So that's a kind of reward recognitions also we give for people who create impact. Yeah.
Thank you, Abhishek. I'll just take this last question, and I feel maybe Dr. Prahladan, considering the pan-India coverage that Bhoomi provides, this is a question from Sukanta Bhattacharji. We work in the remote areas for the tribal communities in Tripura, West Bengal, Assam. What is the scope of getting corporate employees as volunteers, where the company has no branch, or let's say the corporate office is in a state capital?
Frankly, I think the chances before COVID were very less, but I think the silver lining now is lots of remote volunteering is happening. And if your organization is able to scope the volunteer opportunity in a way that a volunteer in Bangalore or Chennai can volunteer for you, I think that would be great. If you're unable to do that, do reach out and we're happy to support you in scoping the opportunity. I think it's about designing it well, handholding the volunteer orientation, and you should be able to do wonders. There are few organizations which encourage this traveling, volunteering and things like that, but it's very rare, and don't set your hopes on that, and try to build local volunteers in your areas itself instead of expecting somebody else from some other community to come and volunteer. That would be my words.
Thank you, Dr. Prahladan. And at this point, I would like to close this panel discussion. Thank you, Abhishek, Padmini, and Aman, for your lovely insights. And I hope it was useful for the audience.